In this video, we will discuss how to deal with procrastination. We will see how to overcome it with practical approach. For this, we will refer to the book, Eat That Frog, by Brian Tracy. The main metaphor in the book is, if the first thing you do each morning is eat a live frog, you can go through the day knowing that's probably the worst thing that will happen to you. In other words, your frog is your biggest, most important task, the one you are most likely to procrastinate on but will yield the greatest results. We will see 21 great ways to stop procrastinating and get more done in less time. So, let's begin. First, set clear goals. Why clear goals matter? Brian Tracy emphasizes that clarity is the starting point of all success. If you don't know exactly what you want, how can you expect to get it? He says that one major reason people procrastinate is because they are unclear about their goals. Without clarity, tasks seem overwhelming or pointless, making it easier to delay or avoid them. Practical ideas from the book on setting clear goals. Write your goals down. Don't just think about your goals, write them down. This turns vague desires into concrete targets. A goal that is not written down is merely a wish. Use the SMART criteria approach. Make a list of sure goals. What is sure goals? A sure goal is something that can be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound. Review and rewrite goals regularly. Keep your goals fresh in your mind. Tracy recommends rewriting your top goals every day to reinforce your focus. Break big goals into smaller tasks. If a goal feels too big, it can paralyze you. Break it down into smaller, actionable steps. These become your frogs to eat daily. Connection to the frog concept. When your goals are clear, it's much easier to identify your biggest, most important task, aka your frog. If you have clear goals, you can prioritize better, focus more easily, take purposeful action, stay motivated. For example, unclear goal is like, I want to be more productive. And a clear goal is, I want to complete my client proposal draft by 5 p.m. today so I can send it out tomorrow morning. Now you know exactly what your frog is, and you are more likely to do it. Plan every day in advance. What it means is, Brian Tracy strongly believes that every minute spent in planning saves 10 minutes in execution. Planning your day ahead of time gives you clarity and structure, so you know exactly what you need to focus on when the day starts. Without a plan, you are likely to drift from one thing to another or get distracted by low-value tasks. How to plan your day? Here are practical methods to do it. First, make a to-do list. At the end of each day, or first thing in the morning, write down everything you need to do. Second, separate and prioritize tasks. Once your list is made, use tools like the AppSide method, also discussed in the book, to decide what's most important. A. Most important, do these first. B. Should do, but not critical. C. Nice to do, but no consequences. D. Delegate. E. Eliminate. Third, think on paper. Tracy often says, thinking on paper increases your productivity by 25% or more. Fourth, plan tasks the night before. This lets your subconscious mind work on your tasks overnight. You wake up more focused and ready. Link to the frog concept. Once your tasks are written and prioritized, you can easily spot the frog, your biggest, most valuable task. Planning helps you face that frog first thing instead of wasting time figuring out what to do. Why it works? It reduces overwhelm, saves time during the day, keeps you focused on priorities, helps avoid procrastination, builds momentum as you check off tasks. For example, Instead of waking up and wondering, what should I work on today? You've already planned. My frog today is completing the report for the client. Everything else comes after that. Apply the 80-20 rule. What is the 80-20 rule? Also called the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule says, 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. In other words, a small portion of what you do actually creates the majority of your impact. The rest? Often busy work or low-value tasks. Brian Tracy emphasizes that not all tasks are equal. Some tasks, the vital 20%, are worth significantly more than others. So, if you have 10 tasks on your to-do list, only 2 of them will likely contribute to 80% of your results or success. Those 2 tasks are your frogs, the ones you should tackle first. Often, one task on your list of 10 tasks can be worth more than all the other 9 tasks put together. How to apply it? First, list all your tasks. Write down everything you need to do for the day or week. Second, ask yourself, which of these tasks will have the biggest impact if I complete it? What is the one thing I can do that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? Third, identify the top 20%. Focus your energy and time on those few high-impact tasks. Fourth, eat that frog. Always start your day with the most valuable task. That's your frog. For example, imagine you are a freelancer. You spend time checking email, organizing files, tweaking your website, 80% of tasks. But the top 20% might be reaching out to new clients, completing high-paying projects, or writing a proposal. Focus on those. That's what moves the needle. Working more hours isn't the goal. Working on the right things is what creates success. Consider the consequences. What it means. This principle is about thinking long-term. When deciding what to do next, don't just look at what feels urgent or easy, look at the impact. Brian Tracy says, the most important things you do are often the hardest and most uncomfortable, but they have the greatest payoff. When you face with a list of tasks, you should ask, what are the potential consequences of doing or not doing this task? Tasks that have serious long-term benefits, career growth, income, health, relationships, etc., should get the highest priority, even if they are tough. These are the frogs you need to eat first. How to use this principle? Evaluate tasks by impact, not ease. Just because something is urgent or easy doesn't mean it's important. Always ask, will completing this task make a big difference in the long run? Focus on high-impact activities. These might include starting a business, completing a major project, studying for an important exam, exercising or meal prepping, writing that book or proposal. Let go of low-impact tasks. These might make you feel busy, but don't really move you forward. Your biggest frog is usually the task with the biggest long-term consequences, whether good or bad. So, eat that frog first, even if it's hard, because the payoff is worth it. For example, let's say you have 2 tasks. Task A, reply to routine emails. Task B, prepare a presentation that could lead to a promotion. Even though replying to emails is faster and easier, the consequences of doing task B are far greater. That's your frog. Practice creative procrastination. What is creative procrastination? We usually think of procrastination as a bad thing, but Brian Tracy flips that on its head. He says, you can't do everything. So the key is to procrastinate on the things that don't matter, the low-value tasks. This is called creative procrastination. Deliberately deciding what not to do so you can focus on what really matters. You only have so much time, energy, and focus each day. Instead of fighting procrastination completely, Tracy encourages you to be strategic. Procrastinate on trivial tasks, those with low or no long-term consequences. Focus your time and energy on high-value, high-impact activities, your frogs. If you have to procrastinate anyway, do it creatively, choose the right things to delay. How to practice it? Identify low-value tasks. Things that waste time, offer little return, don't move you toward your goals. Choose to ignore or delay them. Say no or push them to the bottom of your list. Reallocate that time to important work. Focus on your top 20% tasks, the ones that create 80% of the results. For example, let's say your day includes organizing your desk, replying to casual messages, watching a training video, writing a business proposal, your frog. With creative procrastination, you choose to delay organizing your desk or watching that video, so you can give full energy to writing that proposal. Instead of eating the easy tadpoles, small, simple tasks, eat the big frog first, your highest value task. Creative procrastination helps you clear space to focus fully on your frog. Use the ABCDE method for priorities. What is the ABCDE method? It's a simple, structured way to prioritize your to-do list so you can focus on what matters most and avoid wasting time on low-value tasks. Brian Tracy explains that not all tasks are equal, and this method helps you sort them based on their importance and consequences. How it works? Once you've written your task list for the day, go through each item and assign it a letter. A is equal to must do. These are your frogs, tasks that are very important. There are serious consequences if you don't do them. Example, submit a report to your boss, attend an important client meeting. Rule, never do A-B task if there's still a task left to do. B is equal to should do. Important but not as critical as A tasks. There are mild consequences if you don't do them. Example, reply to some non-urgent emails, make a follow-up call. Never do A-B task until all A tasks are complete. C is equal to nice to do. No real consequences at all. These tasks are pleasant, but they don't move you toward your goals. For example, chat with a colleague, organize your desk, scroll social media. D is equal to delegate. Tasks that need to be done, but not necessarily by you. Free up your time by passing these off to others when possible. E is equal to eliminate. Tasks that don't need to be done at all. They are time wasters and distractions. For example, unnecessary meetings, checking news headlines constantly. Example, let's say your task list looks like this. Prepare a client presentation A. Respond to a friend's email C. Schedule dentist appointment B. Forward invoices to accounting D. Check Instagram E. You start with the A task, presentation, your frog, and deal with the rest only after it's done. Your tasks are the frogs. They're often uncomfortable, demanding, and easy to put off, but they're the ones that make the biggest difference. The ABCDE method helps you quickly spot your frogs, so you can start your day with them. Focus your energy where it matters. Avoid distractions. Focus on key result areas. What are key result areas? Key result areas are the core responsibilities or areas of work where you must perform well to be successful in your role, whether at your job, business, or personal life. In the book, Brian Tracy defines key result areas as the results you absolutely, positively have to get to fulfill your responsibilities and achieve your goals. If you don't do well in these areas, your performance suffers, no matter how much effort you put in elsewhere. Focusing on key result areas means Identifying the critical few tasks that produce the most important outcomes. Making sure your frogs, the high-priority tasks, are directly tied to those areas. It helps you avoid wasting time on tasks that don't matter, even if they keep you busy. Your frog, the most important task of the day, should almost always fall within a key result area. By eating that frog, you are making progress in the exact areas that matter most to your success. How to apply it? List your role's key result areas. Ask yourself, what are the 5 to 7 things I must do exceptionally well to succeed? Evaluate yourself honestly. Where are you strong? Where do you need improvement? Focus your time on improving and acting in these areas. Make sure your daily frogs are tied to key results areas. If you are weak in a critical area, improve it. For example, let's say you are a sales manager. Your key result areas might include lead generation, client follow-ups, closing deals, reporting performance, coaching your team. Now, let's say you have a to-do list like this. Organize inbox, attend unnecessary meeting, follow up with a hot lead, frog, update your sales dashboard, read industry news. Using this principle, you'd quickly realize follow up with a hot lead is part of your key result area, and it should be your top priority. Apply the law of 3. What is the law of 3? The law of 3 says that out of all the tasks you do, there are usually just 3 core activities that account for 90% or more of your value or contribution to your work or goals. Brian Tracy explains. Identify the 3 tasks that contribute the most to your job or your success, then focus relentlessly on those. It's about cutting through the clutter and zooming in on the things that really move the needle. Tracy says most people have long to-do lists, but only a few tasks truly matter. These few high-value tasks often get buried under low-value ones. If you can clearly identify your big 3 and spend more time doing them, you'll get better results, be more productive, feel more fulfilled. This helps you choose your frog more easily because it's usually tied to one of these 3 areas. How to apply it? Make a list of everything you do regularly. Daily work tasks, side hustle efforts, personal responsibilities. Ask yourself, if I could only do one thing all day, what task would add the most value? Then, what would be the second and the third? Circle those top 3 tasks. These are your core priorities, your personal law of 3. Spend more time on these and less on everything else. Your frogs, the hardest but most important tasks, often live within your law of 3. If you focus on eating frogs that fall under your 3 key areas, your time is always well spent. For example, let's say you are a content creator. Your law of 3 might be writing high-quality content, growing your audience, pitching collaborations or sponsorships. Everything else, checking email, editing thumbnails, replying to every comment, might be necessary but not as valuable. Your frogs? Likely something like writing a full blog post, reaching out to a sponsor, launching a new content series. Prepare thoroughly before you begin. What does it mean? This principle is all about getting everything you need in place before you start your task, especially your most important one, your frog. Brian Tracy emphasizes that when your workspace is organized and your tools are ready, it becomes much easier to focus and execute without distractions or excuses. Set up your work so that it's ready to go. Eliminate every possible excuse or reason to delay. Before tackling a big, high-priority task, your frog, don't just jump in haphazardly. Take a few minutes to gather everything you'll need: materials, files, information, tools, or even coffee. This reduces friction, increases focus, and builds momentum. How to do it? Clear your workspace. A clean desk is equal to a clear mind. Gather your tools: laptop, charger, notepad, documents, research, etc. Eliminate distractions. Silence your phone. Close unrelated browser tabs. Set your environment: lighting, water, maybe some music or a timer. This short prep time leads to longer, more focused work sessions. Why it helps you eat the frog? When you are disorganized, your brain resists starting because it senses confusion or effort. But when everything is laid out and ready, the mental barrier lowers. You feel more confident and motivated to tackle the frog head-on. For example, let's say your frog is writing a report. If you just sit down and try to write without your outline ready, your reference documents nearby, a quiet workspace, you'll probably get distracted, waste time looking for files, or lose motivation. But if you prepare everything in advance, when you sit down, you can go straight into execution mode, and that's powerful. Take it one step at a time. Big, important tasks, your frogs, can often feel overwhelming. The idea here is simple. Don't focus on the entire mountain. Just focus on the next step. Brian Tracy explains that when a task feels too big, we often procrastinate or freeze. But if you break it down into smaller, manageable steps, it becomes much easier to take action. Your frog is often something big and uncomfortable: writing a report, launching a project, studying for an exam, etc. Instead of staring at it and feeling stuck, just take the first bite. Open the document. Write a rough outline. Research the first section. Each step you complete makes the next one easier. Major goals or complex tasks can seem intimidating when looked at as a whole. The trick is to just get started with the very first step, even if it's small. Action creates momentum, and momentum keeps you moving. You can build up momentum, step by step, until the task is done. Tracy compares it to driving at night. You can only see 100 feet ahead, but you can make the whole journey that way. You don't need to see the full road, just the next step. For example, let's say your frog is: write a 20-page research paper. That sounds like a lot, right? Break it down. Choose a topic. Find 3 sources. Write an outline. Draft the introduction. Write 2 pages a day. When you take it step by step, the task no longer feels scary. It becomes a checklist you can work through. Upgrade your key skills. Brian Tracy emphasizes that continuous learning and skill development are essential for improving productivity and getting more done faster. The better you are at a key task, the more motivated you will be to start it. When you improve your ability to do something, it becomes easier, faster, and less intimidating, which means you'll procrastinate less and take action more. One of the reasons we avoid our frogs, big, important tasks, is because we don't feel confident or capable enough to handle them well. By upgrading your skills, you reduce fear and hesitation. You start your tasks more confidently and finish them more efficiently. What are key skills? These are the core abilities required to succeed in your field or role, especially the ones tied to your key result areas, KRIs. Depending on your work, this might include writing, selling, coding, public speaking, time management, data analysis, marketing strategy. Your frog is often hiding in a task you are not yet great at, so the key is to improve that skill. If your most important task feels difficult or stressful, ask yourself, do I need to upgrade my skills in this area? Instead of avoiding the task, you invest time in learning, and that makes it less of a struggle to eat the frog. How to apply it? Identify one skill that would help you perform better or faster at a high-impact task. Invest just 30 to 60 minutes a day to learn or practice it. Online courses, books, tutorials, coaching. Apply what you learn immediately to build confidence. One skill upgrade can save you hundreds of hours in the long run. For example, let's say your frog is giving a presentation at work, but you hate public speaking and feel anxious about it. If you take a short public speaking course, watch a few TED Talks for style tips, practice in front of a friend, you'll feel way more prepared. And suddenly, the frog isn't so scary anymore. Leverage your strengths. Brian Tracy emphasizes that one of the smartest ways to improve your productivity and success is to identify what you are naturally good at, your strengths, and double down on them. You can't do everything well, but you can do a few things very well. By focusing on your natural talents, your core competencies, and what you enjoy doing, you can get more done, create better results, and feel more confident and motivated. Tracy teaches that your biggest frogs, your most valuable tasks, are often those that match up with your key strengths. These are tasks where you can make the greatest contribution. You produce the highest quality work. You can excel with less effort and stress. Focusing on your strengths lets you tackle hard tasks faster and better, get into a flow state more often, stand out and succeed more in your role or field. Your frog, that big, important task, will feel less intimidating and more manageable if it's aligned with your strengths. So instead of struggling through a task you are weak at, play to your strengths and knock out your frog with confidence. And if the frog involves something you are not great at, you can collaborate, delegate, or work on developing that area, linking to upgrade your key skills. How to apply it in practical life? Identify your top strengths. Ask yourself, what do I do better than most people? What tasks feel easy or energizing for me? Where have I seen the most success? Align your key tasks with your strengths. Prioritize the work where you can add the most value. Continuously sharpen your strong skills. Even your strengths can be leveled up for massive results. For example, let's say you are a natural communicator, but you struggle with detailed spreadsheets. If your frog today is delivering a team presentation, that's a strength-aligned frog, perfect. You'll likely excel at it, so focus your energy there and aim to do it brilliantly. But if your frog is building a complex Excel model, that might not be your strength. In that case, you could collaborate with someone skilled in data. Learn just enough to improve over time. Delegate part of the task, if possible. Identify your constraints. This principle is about finding out what's holding you back from moving faster or achieving more in your most important tasks. Your constraints, internal or external, are the bottlenecks between where you are and where you want to be. Brian Tracy emphasizes that everyone has limitations, but high performers are the ones who identify them quickly and work to remove or overcome them. When you try to tackle a big goal or task, your frog, you may feel stuck, delayed, or frustrated. Instead of just pushing harder, you should step back and ask, what is slowing me down? What's limiting my progress? It could be a lack of skill or knowledge, internal; poor tools or systems, external; waiting on someone else, external; fear, lack of confidence, or procrastination, internal. Once you identify the real constraint, you can work directly on fixing it, which often unlocks major progress. Sometimes, the reason you are avoiding or struggling with your frog is because of a hidden constraint. For example, you are avoiding writing a report because you don't fully understand the topic. You are delaying launching a project because you are missing one key resource or approval. Instead of forcing yourself to just start, It's more effective to identify and remove that constraint first. Practical ways to apply in real life. Ask yourself regularly, what's holding me back from getting this done? Identify the biggest bottleneck. Skill, resource, tool, permission, motivation. Take steps to remove or reduce that constraint. Even a small shift can create major momentum. For example, let's say your frog is launch a personal website, but it keeps getting pushed back. You pause and ask, what's the constraint? You realize you are unsure how to set up hosting, skill constraint. You haven't picked a domain name, decision constraint. You are waiting on content from a designer, external constraint. Now you know what's really causing the delay and what to fix first. Put pressure on yourself. This principle is about learning to motivate yourself from within, instead of waiting for others to push you. Top people have a sense of urgency. They don't wait for someone else to prod them, they push themselves. Brian Tracy says that successful people take initiative. They set high standards for themselves and take personal responsibility for their own goals, deadlines, and results. A big reason we procrastinate on our frogs, our most important tasks, is that there's no immediate pressure, no one is watching, no boss is chasing us, no instant consequences. But if you create that pressure yourself, you can stay focused, avoid distractions, get more done faster. Think of it like being your own coach, setting expectations and pushing yourself to meet them. Your frog might be something uncomfortable, like writing a report, studying for an exam, launching a side project. No one may be forcing you to do it right now, so it's easy to delay. But if you say, I'm going to finish this by 4 p.m. I'll act as if I have a deadline. I'll treat this like a client is waiting. You are creating internal urgency, which makes you act instead of delay. How to apply it in practical life? Set personal deadlines, even when no one else gives you one. Break big tasks into time-bound chunks. Example, I'll finish this section in 45 minutes. Create urgency triggers, use timers, self-rewards, or public accountability. Visualize high standards. Imagine being the best in your field, then act like it. See yourself as a role model, someone who is always proactive, fast, and reliable. For example, let's say you are writing a book, a huge frog. But there's no publisher pressuring you, no deadline. You can put pressure on yourself by setting a daily word count goal, pretending a publisher wants a draft by Friday, announcing your release date publicly to stay accountable. This kind of self-imposed pressure drives action and momentum. Maximize your personal powers. This principle is about understanding and managing your personal energy levels so you can perform at your best, mentally, physically, and emotionally. You are at your most productive when you are feeling physically healthy, mentally alert, and well-rested. Brian Tracy emphasizes that success in eating your frogs, your most important tasks, isn't just about time management. It's also about energy management. You can't perform at a high level if you are exhausted, stressed, hungry, burned out. So, if you want to consistently take action on big tasks, you need to take care of your personal powers, your health, sleep, nutrition, mental clarity, emotional well-being. That's what fuels your ability to concentrate, make decisions, and stay disciplined. Eating your frog, doing the hardest, most important task first, requires focus and willpower, which are both limited resources that run low when you are tired or drained. That's why Tracy encourages you to do your most important work when your energy is highest, usually early in the day. Take regular breaks. Get enough rest and recovery. Exercise and eat well to stay sharp. You can't eat frogs effectively if you are running on empty. Practical tip. Figure out when you are at your best: morning, midday. Use that time for frogs. Schedule rest and recovery. Breaks aren't a luxury, they are necessary for performance. Fuel your body, eat well, hydrate, and move regularly. Avoid burnout. Pushing non-stop leads to diminishing returns. Guard your energy as carefully as your time. For example, let's say your frog is: write a strategy proposal for your company. If you try to do that late at night, after back-to-back meetings, while running on caffeine and 3 hours of sleep, you likely procrastinate or produce lower quality work. But if you get a full night's sleep, start fresh in the morning, block off quiet time with no distractions, you'll do it better, faster, and with more clarity. Motivate yourself into action. This principle is all about learning how to create your own motivation, because the truth is, no one else is going to do it for you. You become what you think about most of the time. Brian Tracy teaches that top performers are self-starters. They have trained themselves to stay positive, focused, and driven, even when no one is cheering them on. They use self-talk, visualization, and attitude to keep going, even when things get tough. Procrastination often happens because we are waiting to feel motivated before we act. Tracy flips that idea. Don't wait for motivation, create it. When you build the habit of motivating yourself, you stop relying on external factors, like deadlines or other people, and start developing internal fuel. That's what helps you consistently tackle your frogs, big, meaningful tasks, day after day. Sometimes your frog feels overwhelming, boring, intimidating, draining. If you wait to feel like doing it, it may never happen. So instead, you motivate yourself into action by visualizing success, talking to yourself positively, "I've got this," or "let's just get started." Reminding yourself of your goals, breaking the task down and celebrating progress. Motivation isn't a mood, it's a muscle you build. How to apply it in real life? Use positive self-talk, replace it with "I hate this" with "I'll feel great when this is done." Visualize the outcome. Picture how you'll feel when the task is finished or the goal is reached. Act like a motivated person. Sometimes, just acting enthusiastic creates real enthusiasm. Remind yourself of your why this task matters for your goals or future. Control your inner dialogue, and you control your outcomes. For example, let's say your frog is: prepare for a job interview. You might feel nervous, lazy, or distracted. Instead of giving in to those feelings, you motivate yourself by saying, "I've worked hard for this opportunity. This is a chance to grow. Let me start by just practicing 5 questions." That shift in mindset pushes you to start, and once you do, momentum carries you forward. Get out of the technological time sinks. This principle is about becoming aware of how technology, especially phones, apps, email, and social media, can eat up your time and attention without you realizing it. Technology is a wonderful servant but a terrible master. Brian Tracy warns that if you are not intentional, you'll get trapped in low-value digital distractions that steal time from your most important work, your frogs. One of the core ideas in Eat That Frog is to start each day by doing your most important task, the one that will make the biggest difference. But if your day begins like this: check notifications, scroll social media, get sucked into emails or group chats, you've already lost the battle. Your mental energy is fragmented, and your frog gets delayed or skipped entirely. Your frog is usually a high-concentration, high-impact task. It demands focus and intention. But time sinks like constant email refreshing, social media browsing, non-stop messaging apps, news updates chip away at your ability to concentrate and get meaningful work done. So, Tracy says, protect your focus by controlling your tech habits. Practical ways to implement it. Turn off non-essential notifications. Set fixed times for checking email and messages. Example, twice a day. Use focus tools or apps like Forest, Freedom, or Pomodoro timers. Create no-tech zones during your deep work blocks. The goal isn't to avoid tech, it's to use it with purpose, not out of habit. For example, your frog is, write a proposal. But first, you check Instagram. Then a Slack notification pops up. An hour later, you've barely written a paragraph. If you had turned off notifications, put your phone in another room, blocked distracting sites for 90 minutes, you could have it in the frog quickly and stress-free. Slice and dice the task. It means taking a large, intimidating task, your frog, and breaking it down into smaller, manageable pieces. Any task, no matter how big or daunting it seems, can be conquered if you just break it down into bite-sized parts. This method helps reduce overwhelm and procrastination by making the task feel more approachable and easier to start. One major reason people avoid doing their frogs is because the task seems too big, too complex, or too time-consuming. That mental weight causes us to delay or avoid starting altogether. Brian Tracy suggests that if you break it into steps, create a checklist, focus on just one slice at a time, you'll gain momentum, confidence, and progress much faster. Your frog might be something like writing a book, creating a business plan, studying for a big exam, organizing your home. These aren't one-step tasks, they're projects made of many small tasks. If you only see the whole frog, it feels overwhelming. But if you slice and dice, you can take action right away. How to apply it in practical life? Write down the task you've been avoiding. Break it into smaller action steps. Do one piece at a time. Even a 10-minute step gets you started. Celebrate small wins. Crossing things off builds momentum. Beginning is half done. Even starting with a small slice can change your mindset from procrastination to progress. For example, let's say your frog is create a website for your portfolio. Instead of seeing it as one giant task, slice it like this. Buy a domain name. Choose a platform, WordPress, Wix, etc. Design the homepage layout. Add your bio and work samples. Test it on desktop and mobile. Publish. Now, it's not one big scary frog. It's 6 small tasks you can chip away at, one by one. Create large chunks of time. This principle is about setting aside solid blocks of uninterrupted time to work on your most important tasks, your frogs. The key to high levels of performance and productivity is to work in long, uninterrupted time blocks. Brian Tracy emphasizes that real progress on meaningful goals doesn't happen in tiny bursts of scattered attention. Instead, you need focused, deep work sessions, time when you are fully locked in without distractions. Many people struggle to complete big tasks because their day is full of interruptions. They multitask constantly. They try to squeeze in meaningful work in between smaller tasks. As a result, they never get into a deep, productive flow. Tracy says if you want to tackle your frogs effectively, you must proactively block out time to do deep work and treat that time as sacred. Frogs are usually tasks that are important, challenging, time-consuming, mentally demanding. They require focus, and that only happens when you intentionally carve out space to do them. Without large chunks of time, Frogs keep getting postponed or done poorly in a rush. How to apply it? Look at your calendar and find blocks of 1 to 2 hours. Ideally in your peak energy hours. Schedule your frog in that time, like an important meeting. Protect that time fiercely. No calls. No social media. No multitasking. Batch smaller tasks separately, so they don't bleed into your deep work blocks. Your ability to concentrate single-mindedly on one thing at a time, without distraction, is a superpower. For example, let's say your frog is, write a chapter of your thesis. If you try to do it between meetings, while checking messages, for just 15 minutes at a time, it'll take forever and feel chaotic. But if you block off 2 hours in the morning, turn off distractions, and commit to just writing, you'll finish faster and with better quality. Develop a sense of urgency. This means training yourself to take fast, focused action, instead of waiting, overthinking, or hesitating. The faster you move, the more energy you have. The more you get done, the more capable you feel. Brian Tracy emphasizes that high performers have a bias for action. They don't just plan, they act quickly and follow through without delay. One major cause of procrastination is inertia, the tendency to put things off or delay decisions. Without a sense of urgency, even important tasks, your frogs, just sit there, untouched. Developing urgency helps you beat procrastination, gain momentum, build confidence, get more done in less time. Tracy argues that a fast pace fuels productivity, while slowness and indecision drain it. Your frog is usually your most impactful but hardest task. It's easy to put it off with thoughts like, I'll do it later. I need to be in the right mood. I'll just answer emails first. But if you build a habit of urgent action, you'll jump into your big task now, not someday. Make quick progress while others are still planning. Avoid the stress of last-minute work. How to apply it? Act immediately on key tasks. Don't overthink. Set short deadlines for yourself. Example, finish this in 45 minutes. Use timers to create pace, like Pomodoro technique. Repeat energizing phrases like, do it now. Get it done. Move fast. Fast tempo is equal to more done plus more energy plus more confidence. For example, let's say your frog is, prepare a presentation for a client. Without urgency, you might spend hours tweaking the font, open and close the file repeatedly, get distracted by notifications. But if you apply urgency, you might set a timer for 90 minutes. Dive right into the main structure. Finish the rough draft before lunch. That momentum gives you a huge edge. Single-handle every task. It means that once you start working on an important task, your frog, stick with it until it's done, without switching to something else. Once you begin, keep working at the task, without diversion or distraction, until it is 100% complete. Brian Tracy emphasizes that concentration and perseverance are key. If you keep jumping from one task to another, aka multitasking, you waste time, lose momentum, and make mistakes. The book's core idea is about doing your biggest, most meaningful task first. But starting isn't enough. You need to finish it. Single-handling means no switching apps, no checking email. No, I'll just do this one small thing first. You give the task your full attention until it's done. That's how you build speed, efficiency, and confidence. Your frog is big, uncomfortable, mentally demanding. That makes it tempting to stop midway or hop to easier things. But every time you stop, you lose your train of thought, have to reorient later, increase the risk of not finishing. When you single-handle your frog, you get it done faster, do it better, feel accomplished early in the day. How to apply it? Pick your frog. Prepare your environment, clear desk, silence phone, etc. Start, and don't stop until it's 100% complete. Resist the urge to multitask or come back to it later. The ability to start and complete one task at a time is one of the best productivity habits you can build. For example, your frog is write a marketing proposal. If you open it, write a paragraph, answer texts, check your inbox, watch a video, you'll feel stuck all day. But if you turn off notifications, set a timer for 90 minutes, focus solely on writing, you'll probably finish it before lunchtime and with way less stress. So we have come to end. So the conclusion is, Eat That Frog is more than just a book about time management. It's a powerful guide to conquering procrastination, building momentum, and achieving meaningful goals with focus and discipline. Brian Tracy's 21 practical principles teach us how to identify our most important tasks, our frogs, break them down, and take action with clarity and urgency. Whether it's learning to prioritize, overcoming distractions, or mastering deep work, each technique in this book pushes you closer to becoming more productive, confident, and in control of your time. In the end, success doesn't come from doing more things. It comes from doing the right things consistently and finishing what truly matters. So start today. Pick your biggest frog and eat it.